Hi everyone. So today we're going to start working on the incubator. Now, this incubator was sufficient this past year and it still is now, but there are a few quirks, and I'll show them in more detail in a moment. But overall, some of the cables are a little too short. They're also routed kind of awkwardly, and I'm thinking about ways to more covertly wire things so that way they can be better. It just make it a more efficient unit. Also, I've been moving a fan between my cooler and the incubator, and I think I want to permanently mount the incubator, or permanently mount the fan in the incubator. And I have the fan, I have an extra 12-volt power supply. The incubator itself doesn't actually cool anymore, so I don't have to worry about it. So I think in the bottom I'm going to mount the 12-volt power supply, and I'm going to see what I can do to modify it so that way I can use the stock wiring plug to actually turn on and off everything required as far as the thermostat and fan, so that way when I plug in the machine, everything just kind of turns on and works. Let's dig into this and see what happens. I don't know that my ultimate plan will actually come to fruition, but all we can do is try. Let's get to work. All right, now that we're down here, it looks like unfortunately we just have an entrance for our main plug here. We have an entrance, then it comes down. It's two wires going to the compressor, and then we have another two wires that one is a ground and the other also runs to the compressor. So need to see where those wires go. All right, so we have made progress. It doesn't really look like it much, but on this panel, we only really need these switches. They're going to be what turns on and off this light, which I would like to keep. Now beyond that, the thermostat control, the cooler doesn't work. I could probably get it recharged and checked and have a working cooler, but that's not the purpose behind this. This is an incubator. So I will most likely end up, if nothing else, just disconnecting the thermostat, disconnecting the fan, because that fan is, number one, very loud. But number two, it also, being a 120 volt van, it actually causes more heat generation than I really want. And I have a small computer fan that I can set up and do the job just as easily. Now, I probably could set this up to run the heat tape up in the top and then blow air using the computer fan in the place of this. And that may be what ends up happening, just to kind of do what has been done similarly here as an air conditioner and free up all the room inside here and make it a passively heated incubator, much like the sea serpents. So let's get in this. Let's keep chasing wires and see what we can come up with and come up with a final plan. All right, so I'm stuck. Not completely, but generally, yes. I need to remove that, and I've been looking for the last little bit for a manual for this cooler and had no luck. So I'm going to have to use a little bit of gentle persuasion, I have a feeling, just to figure out how it's put together, and then probably repair a little bit, but that's okay. This is never going to be a cooler again anyway, and all this does is run condensation down to the drain pan and run the wires up, and I really want to get access to the wires and the wiring properly. All right, let's get to work. Our destruction was very minor and kind of as expected. It'll be easily repairable. I pinched that hose off just because that's an avenue of access for critters that we don't want in there. And instead of tearing it out and then trying to fill a hole, I figured just pinching it off and hiding it behind the bracket up there will work just fine. Now, somewhere, these three lines come up from the bottom, and back here on the back, I'm pretty sure these lines, and I'm pretty sure those lines are right here. But the problem is that you don't know where this line goes. For all I know, this is just the that white line on the inside, but honestly, I don't know because I don't know where it's at. So what I'm going to do is, I guess I'm going to push this plug out of it and discover what happens to this cable, because without this cable or knowing where that wiring goes, it could be doing anything. And it's kind of hard to disconnect everything and use it for my purposes when it is unknown. Last thing we want is to get shocked or electrocuted. All right, back to work. All right, we've kind of figured this mystery out, and it's taken me a little bit. It's quite a while later and a little bit of investigation later. So this big fat cord here is our power in. All of these wires here are actually remote wires that run to our compressor here. They've all been disconnected, but what you'll find, and I even went and got my multimeter out to try and figure this out, and it finally just clicked for me, is that up above you have power in that comes from our plug. It daisy chains to our fan, and from our fan it runs over to our switch, which turns the fan on and off, and it also runs to our thermostat, and then from our thermostat it comes back over and runs down via this wire here back down to the compressor itself. So to wire this up, after spending a little time and looking at it, this is honestly going to be fairly simple. 90% of everything is going to be disconnected and just kind of hidden away, and also taped up so that the only wires we need is our power, the white wire, which is our power in, and our ground is actually the ground to the body. So this will be very easy. All right, let me get this tidied up and disassembled and down to what we need, and I'll be right back. All right, everyone. This has been minimized down to basically a power in and a neutral out. And the white wire is your power in, the black wire over there is a neutral out. I've verified it with continuity on my multimeter to the plug. So electrically, it is going to work. I've started mocking up for a 12-volt power supply to run a computer fan in the top, but we'll get to that tomorrow. All right, everyone, have a great day. Bye.